couple of weeks ago, I bought the IK MUltimedia Hammond B-3 X as part of their 25th anniversary 25:1 group buy. Thought it might be fun to compare it to the other contenders I've got as to which provides the best Hammond organ sound for a rock setting. So for want of a better term, we're going to have a little shootout. The other two contenders in this contest are the Native Instruments Vintage Organs Tone Wheel B3 and Arturia's B3 from the V collection. Now, they've all got slight differences, and one of the things I had to contend with was making sure that as far as possible this was an equal contest. So what I did was I found a particular preset on the IK MUltimedia Hammond and copied that across onto the Native Instruments Vintage Organ and the Arturia. I copied the drawbar settings and all the tone switches on the panel, and I also tried as far as possible to get the built-in distortion to recreate the particular sound I was looking for. When I did my video about the IK MUltimedia 25:1 sale, I made no secret of the fact that I bought the Hammond because I'm a big fan of Deep Purple from back in the day, and I grew up listening to Jon Lord's iconic organ sound. The irony is that Jon Lord didn't actually play a B3. He played for most of his career a C3 organ that he bought from Christine Perfect, who was part of Chicken Shack. She went on to become Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac. And John's C3 organ was also modded because it was hybridized with an RMI electric piano. The contacts for the keys were the same, and John's keyboard technician actually built the RMI piano into the case of the C3 so he could switch between the two without having to switch instrument. All that said, the final thing to do was to match the post-effects processing, and in this I turned to the mix box from IK MUltimedia. The IK MUltimedia Hammond has built-in processing. It has an 1176, an EQ81 and a reverb. So what I did was I took the corresponding units from Mixbox and added them into an insert on the channels of the other two organs. So here we are in Cubase, and what I've got is the backing track to a well-known classic rock song that Jon Lord performed on. No prizes for guessing what it is. What I've done is I've taken the three organs, organ A, organ B and organ C, and I have arranged them so that they each play part of the second half of a verse and then go into what would be the chorus, except the twiddly bit in the middle of the chorus has been replaced by the sustained chords which are either side of the twiddly bit in the middle. You'll see what I mean. So I'm going to play this through and then I'm going to tell you which one's which. See if you can work it out as we go. Okay, so which one do you think is which? Well, I can tell you that organ A is the Native Instruments Vintage B3. Organ B is the Arturia B-3. And organ 3 is the IK MUltimedia Hammond B-3 X. They're all usable in their own right. The Hammond from IK MUltimedia is a noticeably fizzier sound, but that actually reflects, I think, quite closely the sound that Jon Lord had on the Machinehead album when they were actually recording. Oh, nearly gave it away. So each usable, but what I also thought would be interesting is if I switch the inserts off on each one, and you can hear the organ as just the plug-in. If I bypass those and bypass these, we'll see how they behave. Okay, so the one thing you didn't see there was the level alteration I had to make once I'd switched the mix box settings off. In particular, for the Arturia, we had to go crazy. Originally, that fader was down there with the mix box on. To get it to be close, I had to crank it full steam. You'll also notice that there's some residual noise coming out of that plugin, even though it's not active at all, whereas the others are silent as the grave until you start putting some keys through them. So let's just have a quick look at the interface for each organ in turn. So we come up here. So this is the Tone Wheel B3. What you have with the vintage organs is you get a nice screenshot of the model that you're representing, the drawbar screen where you've got all your settings, your ability to control your Leslie, and also that's where your swell is for your expression pedal. You've got your amp settings here. Now what I tried to do here was go for a vintage sound with plenty of drive. They're representing that as being a Brit 60s or Vox AC30 to the rest of us. Jon Lord actually did use a Marshall combo. I've seen video of him where he's talked about how he got the sound for the recordings in that era, and he was using a Marshall combo in that demonstration. So that's that one. The next one up is the Arturia, which has perhaps the more frustrating, I'll just turn the effects off for a moment, has the more frustrating GUI, because this is it. If you want to adjust those drawbars, you've got to click on them and look at the very tiny numbers on them. There's no way that I could find that brings the panel forward so it's like you're looking down on it. You've got this kind of long distance kind of look. What we did have here was the effects, again, a twin amp. In this case, we were going for a Fender type amp, which again is not what Jon Lord used. Basically, that was what I was putting that through. The IK MUltimedia takes a moment to load. Talk amongst yourselves. Right, let's go back to the organ. This is the view you get. Much more straight down onto the keyboard. Again, you've got all the presets. Just ignore that. That's nothing to do. It's no way. There's no copyright infringement here. What you also get with this is a stomp box. There was a little EQ. This preset doesn't use the overdrive. The cab is through something that looks remarkably like a Marshall. You have the British lead, or you have the high amp which looks very much like another particular mode of British amplifier from the era. And then you have the post effects, the 1176, the EQ81, and the reverb. And it was those, now the reverbs, I use the reverb from the Native Instruments and the Arturia, but if I just go back here and open the mix box, what I did was I used their EQ to represent the EQ that was on the pedal board of the IK, the Black 76 for the 1176, and the EQ81. That's been a really quick canter across the course with this, but I thought it was interesting to have a look and compare the organ sounds that I've got with the new toy, the new kid on the block. So if you've enjoyed that, thank you very much. There are links below to all three manufacturers. The Native Instruments one and the IK one are affiliate links. The Arturia one is not. If you want to explore these further and see if you can get hold of a demo or what have you. So until then, cheers, and you take care of yourselves.